You know that feeling when you set a goal and you're pumped for like 48 hours? Then it just sits there haunting you? Every time you think about it, you feel this weird mix of guilt and paralysis. That's not a motivation problem. That's a mapping problem. Your brain can't move towards something it can't see clearly. Today I'm walking you through a 2-minute exercise that reverse engineers any goal into steps so clear, you'll wonder why you've been white-knuckling willpower all this time. Here's what we're doing. I'm breaking down the exact formula that turns fuzzy dreams into a concrete action plan. No vision boards. No manifestation nonsense. Just a brutal, simple system that forces clarity. We're covering 4 parts. The ending clarity, the milestone breakdown, the first action filter, the execution trigger. 2 minutes. 1 goal. 0 excuses left. Let's go. Part 1. The ending clarity. First thing you're doing is getting violently specific about what done looks like. Not the feeling. Not the vibe. The actual tangible evidence that you've arrived. Most people fail here because they're chasing fog. I want to be successful. I want to get healthy. I want better relationships. Cool. What does that look like on a Tuesday afternoon in 6 months when you've actually done it? Here's what you do. Grab your goal and finish this sentence. I'll know I've achieved this win. Then list 3 concrete things, not feelings. Things you can photograph or measure. You want to write a book? I'll know I've achieved this when I hold a printed copy, when it's available on Amazon, when 5 people I don't know have reviewed it. You want to get fit? When I run 3 miles without stopping. When I fit into those jeans in my closet. When my resting heart rate is under 70. See the difference? You just gave your brain a destination it can actually navigate toward. Your brain is a GPS system, but you've been typing in somewhere nice as the address. It can't route that. It needs coordinates. This takes 30 seconds and eliminates 90% of the confusion that makes goals feel impossible. Part 2. The milestone breakdown. Now you're going to work backward like a detective solving a crime in reverse. You've got your ending. Now ask, what's the last thing that has to happen right before I cross the finish line? Write that down. Then ask it again about that thing. Keep going backward until you hit something you could literally do this week. Let's say your goal is launching a podcast. Your ending clarity is 10 episodes published and 50 downloads per episode. Work backward. What's right before that? Episode 10 is recorded and edited. Before that, episodes 1 through 9 exist. Before that, you've recorded episode 1. Before that, your recording setup works. Before that, you've bought a microphone and downloaded editing software. Before that, you've researched which microphone and software to get. Boom, there's your first action. You just turned start a podcast, which feels massive and vague, into spend 20 minutes researching microphones, which feels like nothing. That's the whole game. Your goal isn't actually overwhelming. You just never broke it into pieces small enough to see clearly. This step takes 60 seconds and transforms that mental quicksand into a staircase. Each milestone is 1 step. You just climb. Part 3. The first action filter. This is where most people sabotage themselves. Without realizing it, they've got their breakdown, but their first action is still too big or too fuzzy. So here's your filter. Your first action must pass 2 tests. 1. You can complete it in under 2 hours. 2. You know exactly what done looks like for that specific action. If your first step is create a website, you fail both tests. That could take 20 hours, and done is subjective. But buy a domain name for my website? That takes 15 minutes, and you're either holding the domain name or you're not. Start writing my book fails. Open a document and write 300 words about why I'm writing this book passes. You're looking for the smallest possible action that moves you 1 inch closer. Not a mile. An inch. Because here's what happens. You complete that tiny action, and your brain gets a hit of accomplishment. That chemical reward makes the next action easier. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. You're not waiting to feel ready. You're creating readiness by moving. Run your first action through this filter right now. Can you finish it in under 2 hours? Do you know exactly what done looks like? If not, cut it smaller. Keep cutting until it feels almost stupidly easy. That's when you know you've got it right. Part 4. The execution trigger. Last piece. You've got clarity on the ending. You've got your milestones mapped backward. You've got a first action that's small and specific. Now you need to remove the decision-making moment that kills execution. You're creating a when-then trigger. Here's what this looks like. When X happens, then I do Y. Not I'll try to find time. Not when I feel motivated. A specific trigger linked to something that already happens in your day. When I finish my morning coffee, then I open my laptop and research microphones. When I sit down at my desk after lunch, then I write 300 words. When I get home and change clothes, then I do 10 push-ups. You're stealing a moment that already exists and attaching your first action to it. Your brain loves this because it doesn't have to decide anymore. Decision-making burns energy. When, then statements are automatic. They hijack existing patterns instead of trying to build willpower from scratch. Pick your trigger right now. What's something you already do every single day without thinking about it? Brush your teeth? Check your phone? Make coffee? That's your anchor. Immediately after that thing, you do your first action. Write it down as one sentence. When I blank, then I blank. That's your execution trigger. You just removed the friction between intention and action. Putting it all together. Let me show you this whole thing in action so you see how fast it actually is. Goal. Get a promotion at work. Ending clarity. I'm officially in the new role. My title on email signatures has changed. I'm leading the Monday team meeting. Last thing before that, I've accepted the offer. Before that, I've had the promotion conversation with my boss. Before that, I've documented 3 major wins from this quarter. Before that, I've listed out my accomplishments from the past 3 months. First action that passes the filter. Spend 30 minutes tonight writing down every project I completed since January. Execution trigger. When I close my laptop after work, then I open my notes app and list one accomplishment from this week. 2 minutes. One goal. Complete roadmap. No motivation required. Just clarity. Here's what you're not hearing me say. I'm not saying this makes it easy. I'm not saying you won't hit obstacles or have days where you don't feel like doing it. What I'm saying is you now have zero excuse for confusion. You know exactly what done looks like. You know the next step. You know what action to take. You know when you're taking it. Goals don't fail because you're lazy or undisciplined. They fail because the gap between I want this and I'm doing this is filled with fog. You just burned the fog off. You've got a map now. The only question left is whether you're actually going to follow it. And that's not a blueprint problem. That's a you problem. So here's what you do right now. Pick one goal, just one. Run it through these 4 parts. Write it down. 2 minutes. Then do your first action today. Not tomorrow. Today. Because the system works, but only if you actually use it. And you can't claim you don't know how anymore. You know exactly how, so go do it.